good afternoon. Opening arguments are now underway in one of Hawaii's most high-profile organized crime trials.
Yeah, alleged crime boss Mike Miskey is standing trial alone after his half-brother ended up taking a last-minute plea deal with prosecutors. Daryl Huff has more from federal court.
John Stansel was supposed to begin trial with his half-brother Mike Miskey today, but he pleaded guilty in an 11-hour plea agreement that avoids life in prison for him if he was convicted. Instead, he'll face no more than 20 years. Now, he did plead guilty to being part of a murder conspiracy, a murder-for-hire conspiracy against a man who was apparently a romantic rival of Miskey, who also may have been cooperating with authorities. That plot was ultimately called off. He also pleaded guilty to helping provide chemicals that were used to essentially chemically bomb two rival nightclubs of Mike Miskey's M nightclub. He also agreed to say that he had done assaults on behalf of Miskey as well. It was interesting, though, because he's clearly very loyal to his half-brother, and when he was asked was his motive for profit, he paused and said it was to help his business. Mike Miskey's trial is beginning today with opening arguments. It's expected to last several months. We don't believe that Stansel will be asked to testify against Miskey in court, but what he said in his guilty plea today will help convict Miskey ultimately. Miskey faces up to life in prison without parole if he is convicted. Reporting from federal court, Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you so much, Daryl. Also this morning, Governor Josh Green delivered his second State of the State address. Now, in it, he spoke to a number of topics, but at the forefront was the ongoing Lahaina recovery efforts. And in an attempt to convert short-term rentals to long-term housing for property owners, this is what he said.
Every owner of a short-term rental property on Maui, please join us today in our mission to house the Lahaina families who've been displaced by the disaster. They are part of our ohana, and right now we need your help to care for them. Now, if not enough partners step forward to join us as we approach March 1st, believe me when I say this, I'm going to put our people first, and I will be forced to declare a moratorium on all short-term rentals in West Maui until we find enough housing for the displaced families.
Now, another talking point for the governor, he once again renewed his visitor impact fee, but this time simplified it. He says this is something that he wanted last year, but struggled with implementing it. This time around, he's proposing a $25 fee to visitors when they check in at a hotel or rental property. He said if that had been implemented last year, the funds would have been a significant help in responding to the Maui wildfires. We'll have much more analysis on his speech coming up in later editions of Hawaii News Now.
Now to a deadly drive-by shooting in Leeward, Oahu. Honolulu police say an innocent bystander was killed by a stray bullet as he sat in his driveway. As our Eddie Dowd reports, the hunt for the shooter continues.
Well, this is a very sad situation we are learning about here in Waianae. Neighbors of the 64-year-old victim tell me he often liked to sit in front of his home in a chair in the evenings. They say they were shocked to find out the news that he was dead.
HPD says he was an innocent bystander hit by a stray bullet. Police say the incident unfolded around 11 p.m. Saturday night when officers responded to an argument at the Long's Drugs in Waianae.
Both groups had left the parking lot in separate vehicles prior to the arrival of the officers. The first group was being followed by the second group when a passenger from the second group leaned out of the car window and shot multiple rounds at the first group's vehicle. Both groups then drove off towards Makaha on Farrington Highway.
According to HPD, one of those bullets hit the 64-year-old man who was in his driveway.
It was like real fast. Ba, 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 ba.
John Carmen is the victim's next-door neighbor.
He's friendly, he's a good guy.
Carmen says the victim lived with his wife and daughter.
They'd sit outside in front of their van and stuff. You know, that's where they hang out.
HPD says they are looking at surveillance videos and have a suspect, but would like more info from the public.
The suspect vehicle is described as a silver or gray sedan. The suspected shooter is described as a local male in his 20s, slim build, black hair, and wearing a white shirt. He was observed to be armed with a long type of gun, possibly a rifle.
This most recent incident adds to a string of violence on Oahu's west side.
What we're going through on the west side is really, really hurtful.
In November, state and county officials like Honolulu's mayor, the state attorney general, and Honolulu's prosecutor gathered in Waianae to discuss solutions to address the violent crime in the area. News that has often had to be delivered by Lieutenant Dina Temis of HPD's homicide detail.
The suspect should be considered armed and dangerous. The victim was able to run a short distance away, but there was only one shooter that was observed shooting at the group. There was a vehicle that was discovered to have bullet holes.
Feels like we've had a lot of weekends where we've had to talk to you about the west side. I mean, just for you personally, does it get heavy to have to keep going back to that area?
So I don't like to say specific areas because we are island-wide, our detail we handle. You know, I think for us in the homicide detail, anytime we deal with a murder, it's heavy for us.
For many residents we talked to, this case hits different. When an innocent man is shot and killed while sitting outside his home, some say this is not the same Hawaii they remember growing up in. Eddie Dowd, Hawaii News Now.
With just 1 day to go until New Hampshire's first in the nation primary, the race for the Republican presidential nomination is officially down to just two candidates, former President Donald Trump and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Skylar Henry has the latest.
Happy pre-election day.
Nikki Haley is posing a question to New Hampshire voters as she campaigns ahead of tomorrow's primary contest.
It is now a two-person race. And what that means is your decision tomorrow is, do we want more of the same or do we want a new generational leader?
Haley, who served as South Carolina's governor and as former President Trump's UN ambassador, is now the only Republican left challenging him after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis dropped out.
This helps Donald Trump even a little bit more.
Dante Scala, a political science professor at the University of New Hampshire, says DeSantis' voters are more likely to side with Trump, especially following the former president's strong finish in the Iowa caucuses.
There's this sense of inevitability, this aura of inevitability around Donald Trump. Nikki Haley needed to find a way to puncture that over the last week. I don't think she's done it.
Scala says Haley will need independents to come out in force Tuesday to pull off a surprise. Lucis Korihi says he's considering Haley because he doesn't want a Trump-Biden rematch.
With DeSantis out of the race, we now have three major candidates where it's Biden, it's Haley, and it's Trump. And I am so concerned about a Trump second term.
Trump was at a courthouse in New York this morning, but he's due in New Hampshire tonight for a final rally before tomorrow's voting. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Meanwhile, a fake President Biden robocall in New Hampshire is urging voters to stay home for Tuesday's presidential primary. In audio of the call reviewed by CNN, a digitally altered voice similar to Biden says Republicans have pushed for Democrats to participate in the primary. The voice calls it a, quote, a bunch of malarkey and urges the person to save their vote for the November general election. Biden's name will not appear on the ballot in New Hampshire due to a dispute between the state and the Democratic National Committee. However, there is an organized write-in effort to support the president. Biden's campaign manager says the calls have been reported to the New Hampshire Attorney General. The defamation trial of former President Donald Trump was postponed today in New York. Trump's motorcade arrived at the courthouse this morning for day 4 of the trial. Writer E. Jean Carroll and her attorney also arrived early this morning. However, after a juror, along with Trump attorney Alina Habba and her co-counsel, all reported being under the weather, Judge Lewis Kaplan canceled today's session. Assuming no one tests positive for COVID, court will resume tomorrow at 9:30. The judge did rule on Habba's motion for a mistrial, which was denied. Judge Kaplan also said he would consider a request that Trump be allowed to testify Wednesday instead of Tuesday. Trump has already been found to have defamed E. Jean Carroll in the case. A jury is now deciding how much he must pay her in damages.
Over the weekend, nurses at the Kapi'olani Medical Center for Women and Children officially started their strike. They say they are standing up for better working conditions, which include an improved patient-to-nurse ratio. They hit the picket lines after a breakdown in negotiations between the union and hospital management. Here's some of what they said.
It's a safety issue when you don't have enough time to do a good job, and it makes us feel bad. We are here, we want to do a good job. I have no children. My patients are my children and my grandchildren.
A hard ratio requires that we hold a patient until a nurse arrives and then the patient moves. That could cause a delay in care. We respect our nurses, we respect our entire care team, but our priority is patient care, and we're unwavering.
There's a misunderstanding because it's about having enough nurses to take care of those patients that come in. We've always in the past planned for patients that would come in. Now it's no, don't plan for the what ifs, plan for the now. And that's what the nurses don't like, because we are not prepared when their emergencies come in.
Meanwhile, our Casey Lund spoke with hospital management earlier this morning to talk about some of the steps they're taking amid this ongoing negotiation process.
Aloha from Kapiolani Medical Center for Women and Children. And of course, we've been sharing the voices from the Hawaii Nurses Association. We're going to continue to cover this as that strike moves into this week. We also want to speak with hospital management, Hawaii Pacific Health, and with Gidget Rosetta. She is the Chief Operating Officer. And Gidget, I want to ask you first off what you want the public to know and patients here at the hospital about what's being done to make sure patient care isn't affected during the strike.
Right. First and foremost, we are here for our community. That is our top priority. Patient care is our focus. All of our access is open. Our ambulances are coming to our hospital. Our emergency room is open. Operating rooms, services for laboring mothers, labor and delivery is open. Our pediatric critical care services, all of our clinical services are open and operational here at the medical center, as well as we have HPD here. We're very thankful for them so that there are no access delays for any patients getting in or ambulances getting to our hospital.
I know that there's some things that you're not able to share, but can you give us a little insight into where things are as far as negotiations and where they're headed? You said that you've reached out and have a date where you're going to sit down again and try to work things out with the union.
Yes. First and foremost, we want to share that we appreciate our nurses. We appreciate our entire care teams that provide care here. At this point, we have offered a federal mediator for the negotiations. We've met with the union for 17 sessions, and as of Friday, they are still refusing to have a mediator present. And a mediator is very important because that really signals that you want to come to resolution. And so we do want to come to resolution for that contract. We have put dates out to meet, which are January 31st and February 1st. As of Friday, they have finally agreed to meet with us. At this point, we are turning our efforts to patient care. That is going to be our focus through the duration of the strike. After the strike, we will sit down with the nursing union and we will work towards an agreement.
Gidget Rosetta with us from Hawaii Pacific Health. Of course, we have complete coverage online. We'll be covering the strike as it continues into the week. Again, those folks from the union say they'll be here every day from 7 a.m. to 8:30 in the evening. Of course, we'll keep you updated with any changes. For now, we'll send things back into the studio.
Nearly 6 months since that wildfire ripped through Lahaina town, thousands gathered in a show of unity over the weekend. Participants walked along the Lahaina bypass Saturday morning. Tents were placed along the path, each one honoring places in Lahaina. The iconic Polynesian voyaging canoe Hokulea sailed to Lahaina, along with others, to honor Maui's people.
It's absolutely a great honor to serve in this capacity, but to be in this place and this space with family. These are all the people too that I look up to.
I have all my sons and everybody. He's a good lifeguard. We all try to help each other.
Some local leaders chose not to participate, like community advocacy group Lahaina Strong, because Governor Josh Green was invited and they feel government officials aren't doing enough to find long-term housing for fire survivors.
Looking now to economic news, Macys says it has rejected an unsolicited takeover bid worth nearly $6 billion. Last month, Ark House Management and Brigade Capital Management submitted a bid to buy the shares of Macys they don't already own for $21 a share. However, Macys CEO announced Sunday the company rejected the offer, saying it was not actionable and it failed to provide compelling value to its shareholders. Ark House responded, saying the proposal could be increased if they are given access to the necessary due diligence. Ark House also says it believes investors support taking Macys private, citing how shares soared after the proposal was revealed. The rejection comes days after the retail chain announced it was cutting its workforce by 3.5% and will be closing 5 more stores, including the only store on the island of Kauai, which is located at Kukui Grove.
Ford is pulling the plug on some of its electric vehicle production. The automaker announced that it's shutting down one of its 2 Michigan facilities that build the F-150 Lightning. Ford says the move was made in reference to customer demand or apparent lack of it. General Motors also made a recent similar announcement about its Silverado EV, saying it will temporarily halt adding production facilities for the truck. Although sales of electric vehicles rose last year, the increase was lower than most industry analysts had predicted. All right, let's take a live look outside with our tower cam looking at the state capitol. It is 78 degrees outside. Dry conditions right now, but there's going to be showers on Wednesday because of an approaching cold front. Guys, going to have more in your island forecast after this quick break.
How's it on this Monday? You can see that cold front. It's big, it's juicy. It's heading our way slowly. It's not expected to come into the state until sometime Wednesday. It's going to linger around through Thursday for pulling away on Friday. So this morning we got some clouds from that front. The front is also pulling up a few spotty showers from the south, but overall it's still mostly dry. And those winds will be getting a little bit stronger coming out of the south and southwest today at about 10 to 20. And because it comes from the south, that means the air mass will be a little bit sticky. But today should be just similar to what we had yesterday. Some clouds, a few minor splashes, some sunshine mixed in, but overall mostly dry. High temperature running to about 81 degrees. And as far as the surf, it's on the way down, but still big, still elevated. High surf alerts are posted. Another big warning level swell is due in sometime late tomorrow. So it's going to be a dangerous situation for north and west shores, even for the big wave surfers. So it's going to be fairly dry through tomorrow. And then the winds start to pick up as that front moves closer. The front drops into Kauai on Wednesday morning, moves through the island chain through Thursday. For Kauai and Oahu by Thursday, though, should be relatively sunny, and those sunny conditions will go into the weekend. The next cold front coming in sometime on Monday.
Now to Britain, more health news from the royal family. This time the announcement is from the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson. Molly Hunter has more from London.
That's right. There's been another royal health scare, another royal health announcement in just a week. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, has announced through a spokesperson over the weekend, and now she's taken to Instagram on her account today to announce that she's been diagnosed with malignant melanoma. And I'm just going to read part of her statement. She says, "I've been diagnosed with malignant melanoma, a form of skin cancer. My second cancer diagnosis within a year after I was diagnosed with breast cancer this summer." She says that it was discovered when she underwent reconstructive surgery after a mastectomy, and she's then really encouraging people to go get checked. So she says, "I believe my experience underlines the importance of checking the size, shape, color, and texture and emergence of new moles that can be a sign of melanoma, and urge anyone who is reading this to be diligent." Of course, this comes as the Princess of Wales, Kate, starts her second week in the hospital. She underwent abdominal surgery last week, according to Kensington Palace. We don't know why the 42-year-old mother of three underwent abdominal surgery, but we do know from Kensington Palace that it is non-cancerous. And we also know that King Charles is undergoing a corrective procedure for an enlarged prostate this week. We do not know what day exactly, but really this week we will see, of course, in addition to Sarah Ferguson, we will see the three most prominent senior working royals, King Charles, Prince William, and the Princess of Wales, out of view. Molly Hunter, NBC News, Buckingham Palace.
Sticking with royal news, Denmark is officially under the reign of a new king. Megan Fitzgerald reports.
For the very last time, a procession fit for a queen who dedicated 52 years of her life to service. Thousands of people lining the streets of Copenhagen to witness a historic transfer of power. A grateful nation braving the cold on Sunday to say thank you to Denmark's Queen Margrethe, Europe's longest reigning monarch after the death of her good friend, the late Queen Elizabeth. It comes 2 weeks after Queen Margrethe shocked the nation with her New Year's address,
Har jeg været Danmarks dronning i 52 år.
announcing she's stepping down from the throne due to health reasons, the first time a Danish royal has retired in centuries. But after more than half a century of service, Margrethe, with a stroke of a pen, is leaving behind a lasting legacy of modernizing the throne to her son. In keeping with Danish tradition, Margrethe's son, Frederik X, joining the Danish Prime Minister on the royal balcony, declaring Frederik as king. At 55, King Frederik, now tasked with pushing his mother's legacy forward. Telling a cheering crowd he hopes to be a unifying king, though he's already known for his relatability amongst his people and his popularity just as high as his mother's.
I think he'll do well. He'll just, be his own king. And I think it's important that he is his own king.
But it's his wife, Mary Donaldson, proudly standing next to the king, who's making history as the world's first Australian-born queen. A bittersweet history-making moment for Denmark.
That was emotional because, after I'm 52 years old and he's been a part of my life the whole life.
And a proud moment down under.
She's just amazing. Like, what an honor for me being an Australian woman to have her representing us over in Denmark.
A country with allegiance to the British monarchy, but so many now claiming King Frederik and Queen Mary as their own.
It allows some hope, I suppose, to some Australians that, we've got royalty in Australia, really.
A sweet love story that started in Sydney at the Olympic Games in 2000. Frederik and Mary meeting at a pub. A long-distance relationship leading to marriage 4 years later. And now a royal abdication, bringing two countries on opposite sides of the world together as Denmark's monarchy enters a new era. Megan Fitzgerald, NBC News, London.
Time to check out some good news now, and let's go ahead and give you the story about a dog who is being hailed as a hero. Take a look at this. One dog in Philadelphia is being rewarded for preventing what could have been an explosive situation. That is Kobe, the 4-year-old husky, and last month his owner, Chanel Bell, noticed he was digging a hole in the yard, which he's never done before. Then a week later started digging again in the same place. Bell checked it out, and it was a gas detection. Bell checked it out, and a gas detection device found and realized that there was a smelling of a low-pressure gas leak there. She called the gas company, and they got it fixed, and then she shared the story on social media. Bell also wrote a book about what happened, and PETA caught the wind of the story, and the organization is now giving Kobe a Heroic Dog Award. It's amazing to see.
Well deserved.
Yeah, man's best friends always looking out for us. And I think we have enough time for one more.
You sure? All right, here we go. A police patrol horse, there he is, was spotted enjoying the snow in Nashville, Tennessee early Sunday amid wintry conditions in central Tennessee. There he goes, rolling around. His name's Orozco. And Monday, there was a warming trend with forecasts for the region. So snow melt is being enjoyed in the area right now.
He's not looking for gas leaks. He's just having fun. Nonetheless, thank you all so much for watching. That's your reward for sticking with us, is cute animal videos. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day.